and just how to make the most of your experience. Um, yeah, let's just get started. The table of contents here. So a sort of intro to hackathons. They're a time limit competitions where people come together to build solutions to a problem or a theme. They're great environments for learning and experimentation.
So hackathons are usually organized by like some group or organization, and topics for the hackathon can vary depending. So when you go to hackathon, expect to get free food, swag. You be coding a lot, meeting a lot of people, and also you have a lot of networking opportunities. So for anyone who's like looking for jobs or internships or just connections, be sure to take advantage of those.
So when you're choosing hackathon experience or hackathon, ensure that it fits within your interests or expertise. There are specific hackathons oriented towards college students and ones that are towards people in the industry. So choose what suits you the best. And also consider the time commitment and availability. So hackathon events can last from hours to even days. And determine if you will be participating as an individual or a team. So Kyle will be talking more about this topic.
Yeah. So generally, most hackathons let you form a team. It's optional, but usually recommended. Having a team is, to put it very simply, very useful since I'm sure you guys can understand having more people means you can do more things. But the point I really want to drive home with this slide is not to just pick anyone for your team. Just find people you can generally just vibe with, someone you can sit down with for 5 minutes and not get sick of them. It's going to be a much more fun and productive experience than being with someone who is maybe more technically proficient. You could get something more interesting done, but you just really hate working with. It'll just be a more fun experience. Now, remember, this is another really big point I want to drive home with this slide, is that with more people requires more communication. So try to find that best of both world zone where you have enough people to get things done, but not too many people where all the time is spent communicating, because more people will require um, just more communication to keep everyone on the same page and all moving in the same direction. Now, I'm not saying avoid your 5-person teams if you're trying to get hackathon done. If you can handle 5 people, go ahead. That's incredible. But sometimes you can just get more stuff done more efficiently with maybe a team of 2 or 3. And there are many different ways to find teammates. These four I've personally done. So usually the biggest way people find teammates is through Discord or Slack. Some hackathons have a Discord server or a Slack where you can join that you can find people in. There's also school. Approaching new people in school and mentioning that you're attending a hackathon is usually a pretty good talking point. You can just say, hey, I'm going to a hackathon. You want to check it out with me? And another great way is friends. So contacting people you already know, especially if they're also a computer science person, they kind of like coding. So and friends are usually a pretty great way because if you get along with friends, you'll usually get along working with them. So yeah, and mutuals is also a great way. If you're lucky, your friends might have other friends who want to join, and usually you'll get along with them. Mileage may vary, of course, but that's another great way. Now, right before the hackathon, I haven't personally done this. I'm not too sure how effective this is, but I know people do it. I cannot vouch for its effectiveness, though. Yeah. And here you go, Eugene. I want to take it away with what's a pack.
So basically, can you actually go down a little bit so you can see the
Yeah.
list? All right, so like you can bring all these, you can pack all these, but personally, I would bring deodorant, laptop, phone, and charger, bag for merch, medication, resume, and resume is especially important because you can actually network with people after the hackathon and even gain a potential employer. And for 24-hour hackathons, I would honestly bring a sleeping bag and toiletry, like toothbrush, toothpaste, dry shampoo, just a typical. And yeah, can we go down?
Yep. Next slide.
So basically, finding the idea is actually one of the hardest parts because you have to revolve your idea through the theme. And these themes can be using a certain tool like a cloud service provider like AWS, or even an API. Or also, themes can be also about a broader topic like sustainability and education. So personally, I would find a common problem that people face that relates to the theme and build a solution that solves it. And Kyle actually has an example that talks about this.
Yeah, so here's a quick example that I came up with, sort of in an example situation. So assume we have a hackathon. The theme is education. The company sponsor is Chegg. I'm sure we all know what Chegg is. Whether or not you use it, I'll let you keep that to yourself. But for those of you who don't know, Chegg is just a place where you can find answers to homework. So let's try to think through maybe some problems that people have in the education space. So something I came up with was just educational material isn't always tailored to a student's learning style or level of knowledge. Sometimes the content is too advanced or doesn't have enough detail. So maybe a solution to that is an adaptive learning AI. So an AI that adapts the material to a student's level of knowledge. It just takes in the text and rewrites it, or maybe like brings in new sources from other places. And maybe a prototype for your hackathon could be Chegg Adapt, an AI tool that's integrated directly into Chegg's platform and rewrites content to match your learning style and/or education level.
So another way you could find other like an idea is using GPT to generate an idea. But personally, if this is your last resort, I guess you can use it. But I would honestly just try to find your own idea. Yeah. And these are some like additional resources. So we need guides to side projects and how to develop ideas for hackathon.
Yep. And don't worry about not being able to find these links. We'll share the link to these slides after the meeting in the Discord. Yep. Okay, so developing your project. So you've come up with an idea. Now you need to actually execute. So contrary to popular belief, your project doesn't actually have to be built with code. Your project can be something as simple as a slideshow or as complex as a fully built proof of concept. I'm talking like a totally interactable website connected to a database, something like that. So, but as long as it gets the concept across, anything is fine. But I will note that, however, having an interactable coded proof of concept does help a lot during judging. And another big thing I want to push with this slide is to always focus on completing the MVP. So you might ask, what is the MVP? Well, the MVP stands for the minimum viable product. And in the product development world, this means the most bare bones, simplest possible form that your project can be while still getting the concept across. So no matter your submission format, always focus on completing the MVP. Finishing the MVP ensures you finish on time, and that's very important because during hackathons, you'll be under a very strict time limit. And if you don't make that submission timeline, it's over. So I want to run through a really quick example. I believe it was in these slides here. Yep. So just a really fast MVP here, a to-do list, the most basic application you could possibly build. So an MVP for this would look like these couple of features: add a to-do, remove a to-do, edit a to-do, delete a to-do. You know, the most basic things you could possibly need. Now, I want to hear a little bit from the audience. Here's an example. You guys are building an app to find and review local restaurants. So what kind of features would the MVP have? So please, just in the chat, unmute and talk. I just want to hear what you guys think. Just really, really basic, at its most bare bones features. What do you guys think?
A rating system.
A rating system? Okay, that's good. That's good. Restaurant names. All right, that's great. Okay. Search engine. Okay, these are good ones. The type of cuisine or food. All right, I like that. I like that. That's good. Okay, okay. Any more? All right. Now, these are really great suggestions, actually. So I'm going to run through some of the most important features that this MVP should have, which is just really basic stuff. So add a restaurant, review a restaurant. Of course, I believe, Sophia, you mentioned being able to rate restaurants. That's good. That's a very core example.
Thank you.
Just viewing all the restaurants that have been added. Restaurant info, I believe, George, you mentioned that, restaurant names, that's very important. And being able to view the restaurant reviews. So here are some things that you can actually avoid in the MVP. Some of the things you don't need: authentication, a database, being able to search the restaurants. I know, Brandon, you mentioned being a search engine. You can actually get away with having a working product without a search engine. I know it's kind of crazy. It's on every single product, but you don't really need it for something to just get up and running. Perfect, infinitely scalable solution. Just yeah, I hope you guys kind of see the pattern here. It's things that are nice to have, but you don't really need. You know, that's just what I've been trying to push with the MVP. And here we go. All right, Angela, if you want to take it away with pitching your idea.
All right, so let's get into pitching your project idea. So some general advice for creating a good, strong pitch. Kyle, can you open the...
Yep, let me expand
Thank
it.
you. So make sure that your pitch is visually strong. So do not have too many slides. So 5 or less is ideal. Make the style of the slides consistent. More pictures, less words. So do not make it wordy. Make it very visually appealing. So basically quantity over quality. Also, be prepared. Can you open the rest of them? All right, thank you. So be prepared to present your pitch for judging of your project. So be sure to create an outline of how you're going to do it. Also, be sure to practice so things will go smoothly. And also be sure to pace yourself because you most likely will have a time limit for your pitch. Also, make sure to have good structure and storytelling because that's what will make your pitch really strong. So please communicate your idea, get it out there, and don't go into every little detail of your pitch because that will like derail it from the story. And we've also included some additional resources which contain more details on how to like make a really strong pitch, as well as some templates for like how to make some good slides, and you can check that out after the meeting.
Yep. Now here we go. Next steps after the hackathon.
So basically, after the hackathon, you can showcase your project on a portfolio website through a GitHub repository on your resume. So this can demonstrate your skills and experiences to potential employers. So next one, I'll be talking about building out your relationships or networking. So you can also get teammates' contacts or informations after the event, and be sure to stay in touch with the event organizers and sponsors. So these contacts can help you join future hackathons and continue working on the hackathon idea. And this will branch off to the next topic. So turn your projects into something more. So transform your project ideas to to a viable business, so you can, talk to potential customers to figure out what problems they want solved and would pay for. So an example would be Zapier. So Zapier is an automation or workflow automation tool, and actually it did come from a hackathon. So basically the idea came from when the co-founders was spending a lot of time doing manual repetitive tasks and wanted a way to automate them. So they took this idea to the hackathon and developed a working prototype in just a few days. And this idea actually became a business. So yeah.
Nice. We have some additional resources here in case you want to learn more about maybe what to do after you finish the hackathon. Yep. And some personal thoughts here. I believe Vin, the leader, wrote these slides, but he's not here today. So I'll try to cover for what he was trying to tell with these slides. So, sorry. For hackathons, deployment is usually pretty important because you need the judges. You'll be submitting something to the judges, and they'll need some way to interact with your project. So deployment, while not necessary, is pretty heavily recommended, especially if you're building a web application, and something that's meant to be interacted with. If you are building a web application, some good tools. I personally used Vercel very well to deploy React apps and stuff like that. But how you deploy will heavily change depending on your project and how you built it. It will also depend on just who the hackathon sponsor is. Some hackathons will have a company sponsor the event, and they'll want you to use their product, and that may or may not affect how you deploy your project. And another one here Vin was talking about was scaling back. So a lot of the times in hackathons, it's really easy to come up with an idea that's too ambitious. So it's okay to scale back on the idea you're working on. So just making it smaller. It's less ambitious, less cool, but it's something you can finish, like reasonably finish within the time. It could be too difficult. The learning curve is too high. There's too many new technologies you need to learn, and that's totally okay. That's totally all right. It's normal to try to overshoot for a really good project during a hackathon. Just make sure that you realize when your project is too difficult for you, and just being able to size it down a little bit. This goes back to my slide on the MVP. You want to make sure that your project is as simple as possible, but gets the concept across. This will help you avoid this problem. Here we go. And on to what not to do. So I actually wrote the first point here, so I'll go over it a little bit. So a really big problem I see when people come up with ideas for hackathons is trying to build a solution that's in search of a problem. So you found this really cool technology, you really want to build something cool with it. So I'm going to build the product and then find a problem to solve with it. Please do not do this. This is like one of the most common things I see both in projects and in products and in businesses in general. It's like you're a plumber and you have a hammer. You have your tool. This is a really cool tool. I'm going to go find some toilets to fix with this hammer. It's not going to work like that. You got to find the toilets and then bring your tools to solve them. Please start with the problem instead of finding some cool solution. Your project will have that much more impact. And Angela, if you want to take it away.
Right. So please don't be underprepared. As we went over, like you got to prepare and have a good hackathon pitch. So please put some preparation into that. And also be prepared so you can tell a compelling narrative. So I can basically create a good presentation of your project and also within the time constraints, and as well as have like clear slides. And also when you're presenting your pitch, yeah, like, and please anticipate like some questions like coming from people. So there might be like questions about this or that on your project. And also there might be someone who will ask a rather difficult question on your project. So be prepared for that as well. Also, don't overthink while you're working on your project. So some mistakes that people might make is that they might like go all the way and think of everything, like all the technical aspects of the project to the point it will kind of like hinder progress on the way. So one thing you should just do is to just start on the project and then like figure things out along the way, because that will actually like get your progress going rather than hold things up. And it will also like play to your strengths and what you know, so you will actually like get things to work. And also, this one's very important. So please take care of yourself. You might be like getting really into your coding, like getting like having a lot of fun getting into it, but please just like also leave some time for self-care. So if you're getting like frustrating or getting like some roadblocks with your group or with your project, be sure to like take some time, set some boundaries, and have calm yourself down. So like you will actually like be more productive that way. Also, rest, sleep if you're tired. Like, while quantity does not always equal quantity. So like if you work more hours, it might not like get more progress on your project, especially if you're tired. So remember that.
Yeah, this last point I really want to make sure is emphasized, because it's a curve to how many hours you can put in. So like there's only so many hours you can put in that'll actually be productive. And any more hours after that, you get diminishing returns in terms of productivity. So please make sure to rest and sleep. The easiest hack to being more productive is just getting a good 6 to 8 hours of sleep every day. Yep, and that's our presentation. A little quote here, guys, take one thing away from this presentation, just focus on completing the MVP. Thank you guys for coming. That is our presentation. Now we'll open the floor to questions. Guys got any questions, just shoot them in the chat or just unmute. Feel free to just speak.
So how long do these hackathons actually, what's the length they give you? Time frame?
Yeah, the average length. So like, some hackathon, it will depend on the hackathon. Most are just a couple, just like one day. So it'll be around 6 to 8 hours. You'll just be sitting in a room and just coding with other people. Some of the more serious ones are like 24 hours to 48 hours, and those are the ones that are like overnight. So it really depends. Really depends.
To answer George's question, no, not really. You don't really have to turn something in. But people actually just like leave in the middle. Like, but if you're like a hardcore hackathon programmer, usually would turn in something called dev post. I think Kyle has experience with that.
Yeah. Most hackathons will use some website called DevPost. It's a place to like explore, just find hackathons and also just submit something. It's usually like a form that they have you fill out. Nothing too crazy, but yeah, of course, building on what Eugene said, you don't have to turn something in. You can just be there to network, and you don't even have to code. You can just sit there and just do your homework or something. I mean, you don't have to participate. And Sahar, yeah, we just went over what a hackathon is, some of that stuff. I can show you some of the slides, but I'll this meeting is being recorded and we'll send the slides in the Discord channel later for you guys to check out. So yeah, don't worry about misinformation. We got you. Yeah, so let's see, Brandon. Do they give the topic of the hackathon before the start date or when we arrive there? Yeah, so for hackathons, you're supposed to get the topic or theme of the hackathon once you get there. It's to ensure that everyone has an even playing field. People can't come in with projects they've already built. But some weird hackathons will give you the topic before it starts. So just be wary of that. But most of them will give you the topic on the start date. Okay, let's see. So Anish, in a hackathon, how are projects going to be judged? Yeah, this is something that also varies between hackathons and the judges they bring in to look at people's projects. Some of them will be VCs, so venture capitalist investors who are looking for a product maybe. Some are like, I think just people from labs. They're looking for something cool. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind while you're building your project and presenting it. Who's going to look at it and how they're going to view it. Yeah, that's a good question. A game jam? Yeah, I think I would, honestly. It's kind of like the same concept where people come together to build a game. Yeah, honestly, that's a pretty good analogy. I didn't actually think about that, but they're kind of like the same, yeah, except one is for games and one is just for software in general. Yeah. We got any more questions, guys? Any last thoughts? Here we go. Anish, any question? Cal hacks and similar hackathons, what kind of networking opportunities will be possible between the companies? Yeah, so usually the company will send over a representative or maybe a group of people to just kind of hang out at the hackathon and just go around checking out what people have done and just looking at the submissions. Yeah, so if like you see someone, a representative of the company, walk around asking what you're doing, or they might take some pictures, it's a pretty good way to like just open up, just ask them about the company, what they do, what they're looking for and stuff like that. Yeah, okay. Give you guys another minute if you guys have any more questions. We did end a little early. I might have talked a little too fast, but hopefully you guys got the gist of it. Yeah, sure. I can send you guys my email. Let me see here. I'll put this in the Discord as well in case you guys want to contact me or like any of the other core members. Yeah, Garen. The first part of the meeting, we just kind of talked about what hackathon is. We recorded the meeting and we have we'll put the slides in the Discord, so don't worry about it if you missed any content. Yep, there you go. put this. Yeah, feel free to contact me if you guys have any more questions. I think that's it. You guys don't have any more questions? We can end the meeting a little early. Core members.
Thank you.
Guys have anything else to? Yeah, thank you, Raymond. Thank you for coming. Thank you guys for coming. We didn't expect such a large turnout, but I'm really glad you guys came. We'll end the meeting here. Yep.